Beautiful. All right, we welcome Syracuse student athletes Tyus Battle and Elijah Hughes to the stage. We remind you once again to please signify when you have a question. We'll send a microphone your way, and if you could direct your questions into the microphone and add a specific student athlete, that's helpful. And we'll go ahead and begin with questions for Tyus Battle and Elijah Hughes.
Lindsay Schnell, USA Today. For both of you, I'm curious, did you ever play a zone in high school? Like a real zone defense, not just a lazy 2-3 zone? And then also, what was the initiation like in learning the Syracuse zone?
Tyus?
Well, the Syracuse zone is completely different than anything I played in high school. I think we played more of the lazy zone back in high school. But Syracuse is a lot more, we play it higher, a lot more movement. So it's completely different. It was kind of hard for me to adjust to it as a freshman. But I mean, it's easy for me now as a junior, and I mean, it's a really tough defense to stop.
Elijah?
Yeah, you know, I played a couple zones in high school, but nothing like a Syracuse zone. It was definitely a struggle for me as well coming in, trying to figure out, you know, where to be, just little stuff like that. So coming from high school, playing more of a laid-back, lazy zone, and then coming here, it's been an adjustment. But as the season went on, it's becoming easier and easier.
Stephen Fonte from WSYR in Syracuse. We just learned the news about Frank Howard a couple moments ago, that he's been suspended indefinitely for a violation of rules. When did you guys find out? This is for both players, and how does that change things, impact things for your team going into tomorrow night?
Elijah?
You know, we found out, and you know, we can't really do anything about it. We played without Tyus in the NCAA Tournament, and everyone got to pick it up a little bit, and that's what we're going to try to do for the NCAA Tournament.
Tyus?
Yeah, we found out when you guys found out. So, I mean, the team picked up. I mean, they picked up their play when I was out. I mean, we've played without players before. Foul trouble, you have to play without players. Injuries, you have to play without players. So, if we play our game, we'll be fine.
I have a zone follow-up. So a lot of time coaches will say that when kids come to college, they have no idea how to play defense, and they scream and yell at them a lot about that. Was it like that, and what was like the single biggest part of the zone that was hard to learn? Tyus, you mentioned, you know, that you play it really high.
Yeah.
I just want some really good Coach Boeheim stories about him yelling at you if you've got that.
I mean, honestly, Coach, he gives you some time to adjust to it because he knows it's not like it's something you're not really used to, especially coming from high school. So, I mean, preseason he doesn't yell too much. I mean, but during the season, if you don't get it by then you know it might become a problem. But it was definitely an adjustment period for me. But I think I've gotten it down so far.
Anything to add, Elijah?
Well, I came in and I sat out, so you know I had a lot of time to, you know, watch some of the guys in the zone. So, and then when I came to playing this year, Coach, you know, wanted me to be kind of perfect at it because I had a whole year to watch, but that wasn't really the case. I had my moments where he yells at me, gets on me, but it's getting me better, so nothing crazy.
Obviously, if you go to Syracuse, you know that the zone is a huge part of it. But before you got there, did you really appreciate a zone, like a zone? There's a lot of basketball people who don't think that it's a worthwhile defense. Were you in that camp at all? And did you ever say, like, can we please just play man?
Tyus?
I mean, when you go to Syracuse, you know you're going to play zone. So, I mean, man-to-man wasn't really – I think I know I'm a good – going before college, I know I'm a good man-to-man defender, and I believe I'm a good man-to-man defender now. But there's man-to-man principles in the zone, and I don't think people understand that because a lot of times you have to guard the player in your position. I mean, of course you have help, but there's help in man-to-man as well. So you have to keep the man in front of you, and if he goes by, I mean, coach is not going to be happy about that. So, I mean, I don't think people fully understand that part of it.
Elijah?
Yeah, to pretty much piggyback off what Ty said, there's a lot of man principles in our zone, so that's probably the biggest thing that people don't realize and take away. and that really shuts down a lot of teams. Confuses them a lot. And with our length and athleticism, it's also, huge for teams to see that.
Mike Waters with the Syracuse Post-Standard. This player's for both players. Obviously, Buddy and Jalen are now going to play bigger roles tomorrow. How have they developed over the course of this season? It seems as they're both freshmen.
Tyus?
I mean, they've developed a lot throughout the season. I mean, Buddy, it's always tough, playing for your dad and everything else, and coming to a prestigious school like Syracuse. I mean, it's a lot of pressure on him, but I think he's handled it great. And Jalen, he's been doing a great job as well, playing hard in practice. When he gets in the games, he does a good job. So I mean, there's a big stage for him, but I mean, they're good kids, and they've worked really hard, so they're gonna be ready to play.
Elijah?
Yeah, like piggybacking off what Ty said, Buddy's been improving all year. He's been improving it every single game. He's getting better, doing more good things. And even on the defensive side of things that, people gave him a lot of crap about before the season started, talking about how he wouldn't be good defensively. He's been doing really good defensively over the last couple games. And, Jalen, he's not really had the opportunity this year, really, but he's still been in good spirits. He's still coming into practice, early, getting his work in, having a good attitude, and he's also getting better. And I'm just excited for those guys.
Tyus, I'm curious, when you guys play like open gym, when you just play with each other in the summer, do you play a zone or do you guys play man? Is that a weird question? I mean,
we play man. Yeah, we don't play zone. I think we get away from the zone a little bit during the summer, so it's straight man to man and pickup games.
I mean, I'm just gonna keep asking questions. You obviously both have friends that play on other teams and whatnot. Have you ever had a scenario where after a game, maybe another player has come up and said like, man, the zone is legit, or, because again, so many people just, probably not with you guys, but in general, like right zone defense is off a lot.
Elijah?
Yeah, definitely a few times. They've never really realized how effective the zone really was until they played in the game or played against us. And it's really not. It's not sweet. People think it's sweet, and it's really not sweet. So that's probably the biggest takeaway.
Tyus?
I mean, I think the biggest takeaway is you can't really. You can try to prepare for it all you want. I mean, but once you see it in front of you, it's hard to simulate it because we just have so much length. I mean, I'm 6'6". I mean, we have Frank 6'5". We have 6'8", 6'6", and a 7-footer down low. So you can't really simulate that. And when we're moving, talking, communicating, it feels like there's really nowhere you can shoot the ball or pass the ball. So it's really tough to stop.
John Warder, Waco Tribune. This for Tyus. Baylor also plays a zone. Does their zone look anything like yours? And since y'all play a zone, will that help in preparation?
I mean, yeah, I know they play a zone. I mean, a lot of teams play a zone, but like I said, it's hard to simulate our zone. I think our zone is very unique. But I mean, we practice against the zone every single day, so we'll be prepared to attack that, and I think get good open looks in the zone.
Tyler Aki, WAER. What's something that's impressed you about Jalen Carey on the court that maybe people haven't seen out of him throughout the year?
I mean, his resilience, I think. I mean, a lot of players, I mean, when they're not getting the playing time that they want, I mean, a lot of them, they don't put their full effort in practice and stuff like that, but he's there every day early, getting up extra shots, defending as hard as he can, playing as hard as he can in practice, and that says a lot about his personality and how good he wants to be, and I really truly believe he's going to be very good, very good.
Hey guys, Zach Lang, Citrus TV. So Baylor recently has been very good at turning the ball over, whereas you guys have been really good at causing turnovers. How do you plan on capitalizing on that in tomorrow's game?
Elijah?
Just really playing our game. We're not. To us, it's another game. It's a big tournament, obviously, but we're going to take it this is another game, and we're just going to do what we do, play defense, and try to score on transition every opportunity we can.
Tyus?
Yeah, same what Elijah said. I mean, we want to cause turnovers and we want to get out in transition. I mean, transition is where you score easy baskets, get to the foul line, and just cause pressure on the defense. So that's what we look to do.
Mike Waters with the Syracuse Post-Standard again. For either player, have either of you had even a chance to reach out to Frank and talk to him, and how's he doing?
Tyus?
I mean, I'm not going to get too much into it right now. I mean, I know it's tough. I mean, it's a tough situation to be in, but we as a team, I know we're going to pick up the slack, and we're going to be ready to play.
More questions for Syracuse student athletes? All right, thank you guys. We'll welcome Coach Boeheim to the stage and remind you to hail a microphone holder when you have a question, and we'll send one your way. And let's open it up to questions for Coach.
Mike Waters with the Syracuse Post-Standard. Jim, what can you tell us about the situation with Frank? When did you find out that he wasn't going to be able to play, and how does that change the look of your team tomorrow?
Well, he's not playing. You know, we know that, and we practiced. Had an indication that would be the case. We have started the year without him at the point, obviously. Very difficult to make that change now. Fortunately, Tyus has played the point quite a bit this year, even when Frank came back at Duke and you know, several other spots along the way, Pittsburgh, Boston College. We did play Tyus at the point, so he's been there. Jalen's had good practices. You know, everybody, it's very similar to last week when we found out Tyus wouldn't play. I thought the players made a great adjustment. We played really well in both games in the tournament, and we're going to have to make that same adjustment this week with a different guy gone.
USA Today. Jim, I had a question about the zone. When you go recruit players, do you ever see guys playing a zone in high school and think, yeah, this kid will work really well in our system, or are they exclusively playing man or, as Tyus said, lazy zones?
Yeah, I mean, we see them playing both. You know, in high school, kids will play both. But, you know, we recruit good players. We're like everybody else. We're looking at the offensive abilities of players, and then we can adjust them to our defense. We don't need a particular type of player. We've played with small guards, Jerry McNamara, Eric Devendorf, and had real good success. We played with big guards, like this year. That's not that important. People think it is, but I don't think it is, and I think I know more than they do. But size is always important on defense, whatever defense you play. So, you know, length helps man-to-man or zone defenses. I think we can get away with a thinner kid in defense because in a man-to-man you're more physical. You have to be more physical. You don't get isolated as much in a zone where you're going one-on-one with guys. So length and strength isn't quite as important. But we recruit to get really good offensive players, and we can figure out how to use them in our defense.
Over the course of your career, have you been in situations when you're recruiting a guy and he says, "Coach, I like you, but I don't want to play a zone," and have you had to talk guys into appreciating it?
No, what I do when I start out, I say the NBA drafts for only one reason: offense. The NBA has never drafted a player for defense at any position, even at center. Like when they drafted Tim Duncan or David Robinson or Elijah Wan or Shaq, they didn't draft one of those guys because of their defense. They didn't draft Steph Curry, James Harden, LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, go down the list. They didn't draft one guy because of defense. They draft because of offense. We had more first-round picks in the old Big East than any school because they draft guys based on their offense. That's what we tell recruits, and that's the truth.
Jim, walking into the building today, 9 years later, what kind of memories did you have?
Not good ones at the end, that's for sure. It's a nice city. We had a good time here. We get to go to a great Italian restaurant in Salt Lake, which I never thought would happen, but Walters is here. But, you know, we came out knowing, you know, we lost our center, and, you know, he was a big part of what we did, but we played really well. It was a game that could have gone either way, and, you know, Butler made a couple threes at the end, and that was the difference in the game.
Coach John Morris, Baylor Radio. Baylor's had some success with zone in the past also. They play a little bit of both.
Yeah.
But is that a factor at all that you run it so well and run it so often and see it so often? Is it not so much of a factor seeing Baylor run that?
You know, their defense is good, and it's definitely a factor whether they play man-to-man or zone. You know, it's a factor. You have to be able to play against both, and you know, we see that in our league. We've seen some zone this year. Obviously, we work against it every day because we play against our zone every day. So you know, you have to be prepared to play against both. But they're very good. When we played them the last time, I think they didn't really play much zone the last time we played them. We played them in Hawaii. I think they played mostly man-to-man there. But you have to be prepared at this stage of the year to play against both.
Jim, did Frank make the trip? And if you advance, will he potentially be available for a second-round game, or are you going forward as if he's not going to play in the postseason?
I don't think I quite. We're going to play this game. That's what we know who we're going to play in this game with. That's all we're focused on.
Did he make the trip?
He won't be here with us tomorrow.
Zach Lang, Citrus TV. Kind of going off of that, do you know who's going to be in the starting lineup tomorrow?
Yes, I do.
All right. Do you know who that might be? Would you be able to tell us?
That was my answer.
Hey, Jim, thank you for your time. You rank among the best coaches, active coaches in close games decided by 5 points or less. Just curious if you had a few thoughts on what's kind of helped you in tight games, managing the clock, fouls, timeouts.
Yeah, players are making good plays. That's how you win those games.
John Warder, Waco Tribune Herald. Coach, Baylor is a really good rebounding team, even though they're not real big. What makes them that way, do you think? What problems do they present on the boards?
Well, you know, we played against some good rebounding teams this year. It's always a problem. That's something you're not going to be able to really do much about. You know, you have to do obviously we need to do as good a job as we can on the boards, but you know, they're aggressive, they're strong, they're physical, they go after the ball, and that's what good rebounding teams do. And we have to do the very best job we can on the boards in those situations. But you know, Baylor's a very good basketball team. They can score, they can rebound. You know, they've got a lot of guys that can shoot threes. They've got inside presence, and you know, that's why they're in this tournament.
Mike Waters from the Syracuse Post-Standard. Jim, Baylor's lost 4 in a row. I think you lost 4 of your last 5 regular season games, but does end-of-season record have any impact on how teams do in the NCAA tournament?
I don't think so. I think you start out here and you're ready to go. They lost to really good teams. We lost to 3 number 1 seeds in the tournament, so I guess they're pretty good. That has, you know, nothing to do with what's going to happen here tomorrow.
More questions for Coach? All right, thank
Thanks.
you, Coach.